Let's look ahead, shall we, to the second half, the second leg. Frank, I imagine you're still confident the PSG will advance?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, because I think that overall they have more qualities than Dortmund. Dortmund, I think, is going to not park the bus, but defend well, back and deep, and they're going to wait for it. They are 1 goal ahead. They lead by 1 goal. So they're going to wait for Paris Saint-Germain. They're going to try maybe to get something out of it, like they scored the goal tonight. But overall, I think they're going to create. Mbappe is going to hopefully wake up, because we didn't see him today. And we're going to see a better Vitinha, because in the middle of the park also the guy is very important. He's been very important lately. I give big chances to Paris Saint-Germain. I think they are, for me, the favorites to win that second leg and go through.
Frank, we talked about the atmosphere, obviously, in Dortmund. It'll be slightly different in Paris, won't it? It'll be more of expectation.
Well, the pressure is going to be bigger, that's for sure, for the Paris Saint-Germain players. But, it's 1 game to the final, so the fans are going to be crazy as well. It's a great atmosphere at the Parc des Princes. Not the same as at the Westfalen Stadium, of course, but it's going to be big, it's going to be huge. It's a great moment for the players and for the fans, and for the city of Paris, and for France overall, to have another final. Marseille plays tomorrow, can also go to a Europa League final, so it can be good for France. So everybody's going to be behind Paris Saint-Germain and Marseille, and fans can get very happy.
How would you chop it up percentage-wise, Frank?
65-35 for Paris Saint-Germain.
Jurgen, I imagine you're going 51-49, aren't you, to Dortmund?
Yeah, absolutely. Correct.
Yeah, there we go. But given what we saw in the first leg, there is every single chance that they can go to Paris and get it done, isn't there?
Well, I think, it's a totally open game. Any team could have scored a couple more goals tonight. It was a very good game. It was fun to watch. But as Frank said rightfully so, we're waiting a little bit for Mbappe. We're waiting for Mbappe to show his real face. Obviously, he almost scored a goal. He hit the post. But there's more to come from Kylian Mbappe in the second leg. And this is something that obviously concerns Borussia Dortmund. They will play a lot more defensive in the second leg. They will not give him any space to run into. I think it played into their hands today that Mbappe mostly came through the middle, didn't find any space in the middle, against the center backs and the 2 defensive midfielders. I was surprised that they didn't move him out to the left side. Even when Kolo Muani came on, we thought that now he goes to the left side and starts to sprint the side up and down. But it will be a nail biter. But the difference maker, I think, will be Kylian Mbappe.
Jurgen, do you think the fact he's leaving at the end of the season makes any difference for him psychologically in these matches?
I could imagine so. Yes. At his level, you want to leave. If you leave, obviously, to such a club like Real Madrid, if you're going to leave, you want to leave on a high note. You want to give your people something, and this is what they're waiting for. Since 10 years, they're waiting for in Paris for the Champions League title, and he's going to be very, very hungry. He will be highly motivated. 1-0 is a nice result for Borussia Dortmund, but he knows that he can turn that around.
I think there's a big pressure on him to answer that question, to leave with something tangible. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to win this competition,
but with a performance. Yeah.
But he has to at least show that he has dragged this team as far as possible. And let's be truthful about this. Forgetting Ligue 1. He hasn't really done it, particularly in the knockout stages of this competition. It was a bit better the second leg against Barcelona, but Ronald Araujo was off. It was 11 against 10. It was at home. They were more open. That's not a fair assessment. And again tonight, it was bits and pieces here and there. Yes, hit the frame of the goal. So I think the crowd will be waiting for something, and I think in his mind as well, he'll also be, and maybe that's to some extent a little bit detrimental, that he's maybe trying to do things that, I need to get out, I need to make sure I go out go out with a blast. I need to make sure I do this, I do that. And that might go against the ethics of what's best for the team. So it's a real balancing act here. But certainly we haven't, in the last 2 or 3 games in this competition, we certainly have not seen the best of them. If I was Borussia Dortmund, I think PSG for me are still slight favourites. I would be extremely confident of going there as long as my shape was good and waiting to pick your moment. A bit like I thought PSG would do in this game, but were not able to pick your moment on the counter with these pacey wide players.
But these are the moments, though. If you're Kylian Mbappe, this is what defines you as a player. This sort of moments. This is what defines you as one of the best players in the world. And I think we can all agree that he's one of the most dynamic and explosive players in the world. And you cannot go in the second leg of a semifinal Champions League quietly. That cannot be the case. So rotation, go find spaces out wide, be in the middle, come to the ball, get in behind, little diagonal movement, go to the right-hand side, go to the left. You cannot go quietly. You cannot make it easy for Hummels and Schlotterbeck. You cannot make it easy for Borussia Dortmund. Appear in different places. Be off the shoulder, on the blind side of defenders, in between the inside shoulder of the outside back and the outside shoulder of the center back. You can't just stand 10, 15 yards away from the center backs and try to play make and resolve the issue from there. There's got to be more level of activity for Kylian Mbappe, and these are the moments that demand the very best from him.
The French supporters look at him like the fans of Barcelona and Real Madrid looked at Ronaldo and Messi. Mm-hmm. The 2 greatest players of the generation, head and shoulders, by far. By far.
They both delivered.
And always, not always, but I would say a good 90% of the time, when their team was in the Sturm, were struggling, and it was the big time competition, one of those guys generally stood up for their team and was the difference maker. It's his time.
But it's certainly not a foregone conclusion if PSG are going to make it through to the final.